What's up? I'm the Calcar 131, and in this simulated FBI test, we're going to be comparing the 62 grain gold dot with the 53 grain VMAX. So, right off the bat, what is a simulated FBI test? I've done a number of them. I'll try to link the playlist up here. If not, I'll link the playlist in the description. I've only done a couple, but the FBI test, simulated because I'm not FBI, is basically a series of 6 stages or 6 tests meant to, as far as I can tell, and logically I suppose, meant to determine how well a duty load or a proposed duty load or something like that would perform terminally, in this case in ballistics gel, if you had to shoot a threat through some kind of barrier, okay? That's what the entire test is. So various tests will have different barriers set up in front of this ballistics gel, and like I said, the point is to see how well that load will do should you have to go through some kind of a barrier in order to hit your target, okay? Obviously, because it's from the FBI, this is really kind of geared a bit more towards law enforcement officers or agents, I suppose, FBI agents, but I'm doing this from the guise of a civilian, just like self-defense sort of shooter. So, sort of disclaimer about that, I do recognize that it's unlikely you'll have to shoot somebody through some of these barriers, and once we get into some of the barriers, you might think it's downright never going to happen. Just because it's unlikely doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Statistically, it's pretty unlikely that you'll have to engage somebody 40 yards away, but it wasn't too long ago we saw that to be the case, huh? So, like I said, it's unlikely. I'm not denying that. However, the fact is, it's possible, depending on the situation, you might have to engage a threat through one of these kinds of barriers, and depending on what load you choose, you might be in trouble if it's not very barrier blind. So the two contestants, the Speer 62 grain gold dot, very well known. I've tested it a number of times. Generally regarded as some of the arguably, I would say, the best self-defense round you can get. Medium weight, bonded soft point. What more is there to say? It's the gold dot. It's very well known. Going up against it is the Hornady Superperformance 53 grain VMAX. And I'm pretty sure I have a playlist going for this too, because I've done a number of videos, some of my most controversial videos for that matter, saying that I do not believe you should use 53 grain VMAX for self-defense, or for the most part, any varmint load for a self-defense load. Why? Well, I'll get into this ranting a little bit more as the video goes on, I'm sure. But the simple fact is, for my gel tests, yes, even rifle gel tests, I use a standard of like 12 to 18 inches of penetration, okay? That number also comes from the FBI in a paper called Handgun Wounding Factors and Effectiveness, which you can find a link to in my description if you want to read it. They very clearly state that a pistol load, a pistol bullet, has to get 12 to 18 inches of penetration in ballistics gel in order to effectively hit and destroy vital organs in a human body. I did an entire video on why I use that. Some people like to bring up that, look at the name of the paper, Calcar. They're talking about pistol bullets. That doesn't apply to rifle bullets. Well, not really. Like I said, I did an entire video right here on breaking down some of the reasons why I do still use that standard for rifles and shotgun testing. If that video is not enough, there have been people from the FBI who literally, blatantly, publicly said they still use that penetration standard. So I don't know how you don't really have any ground to stand on if you say that. But, that little rant aside. So, what do I expect? I'm pretty sure I already know what's going to happen. The 53 grain VMAX, because I've tested it a number of times, is not going to pass my penetration standards in any of the tests. Even in bare gel, which is the very first stage we're about to get into, bare gel, no target, no barrier, sorry, your target not even wearing clothing, supposedly, it's going to get maybe 10 inches, I'd guess, the core of the bullet, maybe 10 inches. All the fragments are going to be like 2 to 5 inches. Let's find out if I'm right, because I've tested it before. Willing to bet I am. Anyway, I'm going to be 3 yards away. I normally do my testing at 5. However, the FBI test actually specifies 10 feet, which is close to 3 yards, so that's what I do. It's going to be shot out of the 16-inch barrel on my lovingly home-built 16-inch sort of general purpose rifle. So like I said, 3 yards away, I have the 62 grain gold dot loaded up first. After that, we'll try the 53 grain VMAX. Stage 1, as I said, just bare gel. This is assuming your target isn't even wearing clothing, basically. Gold dot. 2605. Let me reset up the tape measure. All right, VMAX time. 2973. The gold dot is right here, and like always, I'll get you guys a more up-close shot, but fucking gold dot is just, So, overall penetration on the gold dot looks like 15 3/4 inches. So, of that 12 to 18 inch standard, the gold dot, just perfectly right in the middle. It looks like it expanded really nicely. Now, all right, here we go. I can see it better on this side. The neck on the gold dot, as pretty standard, about 1 inch, roughly. Then it has some, as it is shown in this clear ballistics gel, which, yes, is different from organic gel, and both of them are not a good representation of what the temporary stretch cavity damage is in human body. Ballistics gel, every kind, tears easier than most human tissues. So this is not indicative of pretty much any of the other mediums. But it looks like it stretches from about 1 inch out to about 10 inches. Pretty good distance there till it kind of tapers off to just the bullet trail, just the permanent wound cavity. So about 1 to 10 inches, and at its widest point, almost 1.5 inches, roughly. Not too bad. Now I'll flip it back around because I can see the VMAX easier from this side. Not what I was expecting, but I'm pretty sure this is the core of the bullet, I think. And it only got 7 inches of penetration, okay? I think. I'll get you guys a shot so you can tell me in the comments if you disagree. I'm pretty positive that's the core of the bullet. So it got 7 inches. The neck is also about 1 inch, roughly, before it starts to break up. And then it goes from 1 inch. The temporary stretch cavity is roughly 1 inch to probably 5. However, the fragments, looks like the shallowest fragment that I can see is probably 2.5 going out to 6.5. So for the vast majority of the total penetration, there is fragments, and fragments are a really good way to convert a temporary stretch cavity into permanent tissue damage. However, the fact remains, of the standard I go for, at least 12 inches, it's literally almost half, okay? Which means, depending on what the situation is, maybe you had to shoot up his arm. Maybe you didn't get a perfectly clean frontal shot. Not really all that common from what I've seen in self-defense videos. Maybe you had to shoot him from the side, what have you, okay? Perfect scenario. The gold dot was perfectly centered in the standard I look for. The VMAX, way too shallow. So, yeah. So, of the stage 1, assuming you're fighting in a gunfight with a threat that's not wearing any clothing, I picked the gold dot. Wound track on the gold dot there, that roughly like little 1 inch section before it starts to expand. Comes all the way down right there, almost at the very end, like 15.5, 15 3/4. Other side, you can see the VMAX load better. Again, almost, you can kind of see almost the exact same neck. Expands, whole lot of fragmentation. But I'm pretty sure from looking at it, that's where the core of the bullet is, right here. So it only did that as opposed to the gold dot, which is way over here. So would it be a nasty wound? Absolutely. In my opinion, I'm not an EMT, I'm not a fucking trauma surgeon, but would this get deep enough to hit vital organs and cause massive blood loss and rapid incapacitation? No. Would it be a really nasty wound? Yes. But depending on what their frame of mind is, what drugs they could be on, yada yada, how determined they are, in the like very short 1 minute maybe that most violent encounters are, would that lead to an incapacitation? I don't know. I would say not, just based on extremely shallow penetration. 7 inches overall penetration. Validation testing for FBI gel, which I've done right here, is a freaking BB gun, a .177 caliber BB, and that got 3 inches. So take from that what you will. All right, I've reset for stage 2. Stage 2 is a clothing test. So I got this clothing pack from Clear Ballistics. I'll throw up on screen what they are. I'm pretty positive this is exactly what the FBI test calls for. It's two layers of a t-shirt material, 1 layer of fleece, 1 layer of denim. Obviously, this is meant to test if your subject is wearing clothing, which might be likely. Expectations, no difference. I don't think the clothing is going to be enough to make any difference with these rounds. Once again, we have the gold dot coming out first, and then the VMAX. 2670 for the gold dot. All right, I got everything set back up. VMAX time. 2991. All right, so the clothing, I'll get you an up-close shot again, but denim, 2 t-shirt materials, and then a layer of fleece. I'll just throw it over there. So, it looks like the other gold dot is right there. So we're looking at 17 inches of penetration, sort of on the extreme end, still within the standard I'm looking for. And frankly, I would rather have slightly too much penetration than not enough. 17 inches total penetration for the gold dot. And once again, I have to flip this around so I can actually find the totally ineffective duct tape at holding the clothing on. So I can see the fragmentation, everything from the VMAX. 7 3/4 inches. And I'm not gonna bother doing any of the, you know, like temporary cavity and the fragmentation. It's almost exactly the same. It still has a neck on it, the VMAX load, which tells me that clothing, shockingly, was not enough to cause it to start breaking up before it hit the gel, because it still has roughly a 1-inch neck before it starts to break up. So it's going to be basically the same. It got, I said, maybe an extra 3/4 of an inch of penetration, but stage 2, the clothing test, I would still pick the gold dot. All right, so right here in the front, I believe this is the second VMAX shot. Once again, it's kind of hard to tell, but all the fragments, it looks basically the same. You can see a small little neck there, not much difference. That being the first shot from the VMAX. You can't really tell because I believe it's that second middle one right there is where the second gold dot went in, came through. It's not just barely into that second block. These are roughly 16-inch blocks, so roughly right there. All right, stage 3. This one's one of my favorites, stage 3 and 6. Stage 3 is 2 pieces, fucking sweaty. Stage 3 is 2 pieces of 20 gauge steel. It calls for 20 gauge steel, hot rolled with a galvanized finish. I got these pieces from metalsdepot.com. They're 20 gauge steel with the galvanized finish. It's not exact. Nothing about this is exact to the FBI standards, so it's just meant to be close. It's simulated. But this is simulating the weakest part of a car door. Again, from a civilian perspective, admittedly, unlikely, but it's not impossible. Look around. You can find like security cam videos, ring bell, whatever they're called, home videos of people that have gotten in gunfights around a car. If that's the case, and you choose a load like the VMAX, I'm expecting it to have issues. I believe this 20 gauge steel might be enough to cause it to start breaking up before it even hits the gel, but we'll find out. Gold dot, yeah, make sure. Gold dot up first. 20 gauge steel versus 62 grain gold dot. 26.69. Let me go set up the t-shirts again. All right, I got the t-shirt set back up. I did flip this first gel block around, so hopefully we'll get slightly cleaner penetration on this VMAX. We'll find out. Didn't get a velocity on that one. My t-shirts are, they're getting pretty tore up. I have another pack down there. I'm gonna have to swap those in for these. But, so, here are the two pieces. Here's the first one. This one down below, I believe, is the gold dot. This is the VMAX. Gold dot VMAX. I'll get you an up-close shot whenever I get an up-close shot of the wound tracks. It's got some black sort of burn marks around it. That's not good. This is also not good. I'll get you a up-close shot again, but I was right. I can see fragments. So that VMAX did break up after the first one, especially after the second one, because once it hit the target, I can see a whole bunch of fragment holes all around here. So the VMAX, it looks like it's still got, admittedly, 6 3/4 inches of penetration. The core of the bullet, it looks like. All of the fragments, it looks like 4 inches roughly is like the deepest they got, I think. I can't tell what that is, the downside to using old blocks. It looks like it came from the VMAX, but I'm not sure what it is. The gold dot, on the other hand, I can tell that one because it hit lower. Again, that bottom hit down there is where the gold dot hit, and it exited the block. It did this weird, I'll show you, but it started low, kind of curved up, curved out, and it popped out of the block 15.5 inches out. So right here, I believe, is where the VMAX hit. Like I said, very, very shallow on all of the fragmentation. I don't know what that is. Looking at it, it looks like it came off of that, so that could be another part of the bullet, but I believe that, because that is definitely the gold dot where it came out, curved around, popped out, kind of skimmed right there. But the gold dot was definitely lower. This is the VMAX. So at the most, I got like 6 3/4, 6.5, something like that. That could be another part of it. But the fragmentation that gold dot, or the VMAX, is really known for, very, very shallow. And that's that cloth I told you about, a more up-close shot of it. So it was definitely fragmenting before it hit the target. This is the first one. That's gold dot. That would be VMAX. Gold dot and VMAX. Like I said, it was kind of scorching and fragmenting before it hit the target. So I just reshot the gold dot again. That's the second gold dot hit. That is the second gold dot hit. I thought I was recording, turns out I wasn't, so I was looking like a fucking idiot out here talking to myself. Anyway, it entered somewhere around here, curved down, came through, and it stopped right there. That's the second gold dot shot. That is the stage 3. That one, it got blunted a lot. You can see it really well right there when it focused. That soft point got blunted, and it didn't expand at all. So those 20 gauge steel really messed it up. But I mean, hey, it's still perfectly within the standard I'm looking for. I measure it's like 17 and 3/4. Back half now, we're on stage 4. This is going to be 2 pieces of 1/2-inch gypsum board, drywall as far as I'm aware. This is probably not the same sort of stuff they're calling for in the actual FBI test. I got it at Lowe's. It's 1/2-inch drywall. Nothing else has changed. I have 2 new pieces of that t-shirt material in front of the blocks. Gold dot up first, then the VMAX. I'm not expecting this to be really much different from the first 2 tests. I really don't think that drywall is hard enough to cause either one of these any serious issues, but let's find out. I think I mentioned it. If I didn't, I took the back block and put it in the front. So for the 4, 5, and 6 tests, at least, this block should be a bit more clear, hopefully. So, gold dot, 62 grain versus 2 pieces of drywall. 2692 velocity. Once again, that gold dot exited the block. It was pretty similar. I'd say around 14, 15 inches it exited the block. So, I have another gold dot. We're gonna retry it again. I don't have many more. I don't know how many I'm gonna be able to keep retesting it if it exits the block. But I got a new piece of drywall set up too. So once again, we're gonna try 62 grain gold dot versus 2 pieces of gypsum board drywall. Hopefully it'll actually stay in the gel. I don't have many more extra, so. 2609 velocity. Let me reset up the t-shirt material again. Looks like it stayed in the block that time, so now we're gonna move on to the 53 grain VMAX versus drywall. Show must go on. 3004 velocity. Show must go on. Show must go on. Just so you can kind of see, these were the first 2 pieces I shot. That's the one where the gold dot exited the block. These are the second 2, gold dot and the VMAX. So where the gold dot exited the block the first time, 15 inches, shocking. That is where the gold dot stopped on this test, right at 18 inches. So extreme edge, but still within the standard. The VMAX was, once again, I can see some fragment holes on here. So even that 2 piece, even those 2, Jesus Christ, these are getting ripped to hell. Even those 2 pieces of drywall were enough to cause it to start breaking up. I honestly can't even see a core of the bullet. I can't find one. The fragments go, frankly, from like 1 inch to 4.5. I can't find a core though, so if I had to shoot someone through an interior wall, not saying you should, if the situation demanded it, I'd go with the gold dot. See some of the fragment holes there from that VMAX, but it's the front of the gel. That's the VMAX. I can't find a core, honestly. I always use fragments, but popped out right there is the first gold dot shot, coming through like the same rough area right down there. Not right there, it kind of tumbled, but you can see the bottom of it right there. That's where the second gold dot is. Stage 5, we're almost done here. Stage 5 is 1 piece of 3/4 inch AA fir plywood. That's what the actual FBI test calls for. This is 3/4 inch plywood from Lowe's. So we'll See what happens. Gold dot up first. $26.52. Let me set up my very tattered and ripped up t-shirt material. All right, 53 grain VMAX versus one piece of drywall. $31.43. Drywall, I got really close on the two of them, but I found the core of that VMAX shot though. The VMAX got, my God, 7 inches. Fragmentation exactly like it was before. Once again, I can't seem to find the damn gold dot. It looks like it should have went through, but if it did, then it's captured here in this bit of this second gel block, which is just all burnt up and it's hard to fucking see anything. Pretty sure that's it. And if that's the case, the gold dot, try and get that reset up. The gold dot got like 17, like 17 inches, just barely into that second block. For stage 5, simulating wooden doors and construction timbers, I believe the stage is. I'll go with the gold dot. Here's the piece of drywall. Once again, I got way too close with both of them, but right there is the core of that stage 5 shot. I don't think I showed you guys up close of the last one. I don't remember, but that's mostly from stage 4. I couldn't find a core. That's stage 5. And then traveling way down here, that's one of them. The one from stage 5, you can't really tell, is right here. You can kind of see that bulge right there. All right, y'all, we come to the very last stage, my absolute favorite, stage 6. This one calls for 1/4 inch ASI laminated auto safety glass, I believe. Now, I got this from onedayglass.com. It's 1/4 inch laminated safety glass. Once again, this is not exact. It's just meant to be a simulation. It's meant to be kind of close. This is meant to simulate shooting someone through shooting a target, at least, through a car windshield. So, gold dot coming out first. I'm not sure what the VMAX is going to do on this one. In the video I did right here, I did an FBI test on some 22 LR ammo. And turns out that this 1/4 inch safety glass is bulletproof to 22 long rifle. It's only 22, granted, but it flat out stopped 22. So I'm pretty damn positive that that VMAX is going to break up from going through it, but let's find out. 62 grain gold dot versus simulated car windshield. Blanked out for a second. 26.38, and I felt a whole bunch of little glass fragments falling around me. But let's see how the VMAX does against 1/4 inch laminated safety glass. $29.98 velocity. Here is the one from the gold dot shot. Here's the one from the VMAX. Got to be careful here because there's a whole bunch of glass fragments right around here, but that VMAX shot, I'm pretty sure it's the VMAX that's absolutely tearing these things up. Color me fucking impressed. All right, so I can see that the VMAX was definitely breaking up. Undeniably breaking up, because I can see fragments in multiple parts. I can't tell if that is where the VMAX ended though. All right, I had to check my slow-mo camera and I still couldn't tell a whole lot. I think the VMAX, I think this is the core of the bullet, 3.5 inches into the gel. And like I said, there are fragments in multiple places, so it undeniably got really broken up by going through this laminated safety glass. The gold dot, that's what surprises me. It only got 9 inches. I believe that's the gold dot. Once again, this is the downside to using gel that's been this used. But this is the first time I've shot through this side. I'm pretty positive that is the gold dot. And it only got, like I said, 9 inches. So, that laminated safety glass, in all of my testing, the 22 didn't penetrate at all. I did a 9mm Extreme Defender versus 9mm gold dot. I believe very similar to this test, both of those under-penetrated. So this stuff, it's harder than you think. And neither one of them hit the standard I was looking for, but of the two, the gold dot obviously did better. So here we have the VMAX. I believe this is the core of the bullet right here. But you can see, I shouldn't have shot through this side at all. So all of this is new. So you got a fragment there, fragment there, fragment there. All of that VMAX broke up before it even hit the gel. And that, I believe, is the gold dot right there. So like I said, overall, well short of where it normally landed at like 15 to 17, but that one was definitely closer after having to go through a simulated car windshield. All right, so here's some of the bullets that I managed to recover, and I didn't get very many. This is the one that I believe came from the stage 6, the auto glass test. I think this is the VMAX, the shell. Believe, I'm not positive. Here's another piece of a bullet base, I think from a VMAX test. I don't know which one. This is the gold dot from the auto glass test. Really messed up. Got some gel on it. This is the one that I managed to capture from the stage 3, the 20 gauge steel. You can see it just flattened it out. That's the one that didn't expand. It kind of stopped sideways, but don't know which test this one's from. I had to flip these blocks around so much. They were so old, I lost track. I don't know which one it's from, but there's that one. And that's what it looks like whenever it's just plainly going through the gel. This is probably from stage 1, maybe 2. Part of me wants to say interesting results. And in some stages it was, but for overall, I'm not really surprised. The VMAX, as I've tested before, it, even in the best case scenario, bare gel, doesn't get to the standard I'm looking for. That's all there is to it. In bare gel, perfect scenario. The gold dot is perfect. Gold standard, gold dot. As the tests went on, the gold dot, I would say, was pretty consistent. You know, it got, I forget exactly, stage 1 was like 14.5. Stage 2 was very similar. Stage 3, I lost one and then I had to reshoot it. It's a little pill-shaped looking one ended up at like 17. All of them, for the most part, the gold dot was right around the perfect point midway or the extreme edge of my penetration standard, okay? The only one it didn't was the auto glass test, which from everyone I've tested so far has failed the auto glass test, technically speaking, okay? The VMAX and all of them, shockingly, under-penetrated. That's all there is to it. There's a reason why I'm pretty positive on the Hornady website they don't market the VMAX rounds as self-defense rounds. They're meant to hit tissue, and because they're meant to hunt varmints, explode and do a whole lot of damage in a very short area. Okay? For some cases, for maybe even most cases, might that be enough? Sure. But the fact is, the fact is, you don't know what frame of mind the threat is going to be in whenever that day comes. They might be a 17-year-old punk that as soon as they see a gun, they're going to run away. You don't know that. They might be a fucking escaped convict that's drunk and they're more than willing to get in a fight. In which case, you need to have a load, or a gun and a load, that is going to be up to the task. You don't know if they're going to be, what frame of mind they're going to be in. They're going to be ready to fight. You don't know if they're going to be full of adrenaline, full of drugs, full of alcohol. You don't know what their frame of mind is, okay? There's only two things that you, the shooter, the defensive shooter, the good guy, quote unquote, can control. One being shot placement, which is king above all else, of course, where the bullet goes. The other thing you can control is how deeply your load will penetrate. Your chosen bullet load will penetrate. The best practical way to stop a threat from being a threat: poke holes in vital organs, cause rapid blood loss, and rapid incapacitation. You can't control anything other than that. You could have a fucking 350-pound bodybuilder get shot in the arm with a 22 and he'll run away. You could have a 100-pound fucking meth head get shot with one of these, not even feel it. Okay, it just, you can't control any of that, which is why, personally, if you disagree, go ahead, I don't really care. But in my opinion, it's my test, I'll say what I want. I think you should choose a load that penetrates deeply enough for a worst case scenario to, as I said, poke holes in vital organs, massive blood loss, rapid incapacitation. Okay? I'm not sure if you guys saw, I'll try and find it and throw up here, but there was a clip that came out not too long ago of some dude in a mall that got in a knife fight, got stabbed in the neck. You know how long he was up and still in the fight? Like 10 seconds. Rapid blood loss, rapid incapacitation. Okay? So, in this simulated FBI test comparing 62 grain gold dot with 53 grain VMAX, I gotta go with the 62 grain gold dot. It remains to this day my personal preferred and my personally recommended 223 self-defense choice. So if you enjoyed the video, if you find it interesting or informative, give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Tell me in the comments below if you agree with me. Do you think that the 62 grain gold dot is the best choice? Do you think it won this test? Or do you completely disagree with me? And do you think that you still want to use the VMAX? If you want to have a logical debate about it, tell me in the comments. I'm more than willing to talk about it. If you're butthurt that I'm saying your favorite load is trash and you want to bitch, tell me in the comments because it still helps my interactions. I'm the Car 131, signing off.